Devastation in Kentucky after a swarm of deadly tornadoes. Homes and businesses destroyed and dozens dead. New York Governor Kathy Hochul's new indoor mask mandate takes effect Monday morning. This comes as Philadelphia announces vaccine passports for indoor dining. And at least 4 states in recent weeks have called in members of the National Guard to deal with healthcare staffing issues. Tune in to Deep Dive as we explore these topics and more. Hello and welcome. This is Deep Dive and I'm Tiffany Meier. President Biden is set to visit Kentucky this Wednesday. That's to survey the damage from deadly tornadoes. At least 3/4 of a Kentucky town are gone. Dozens of lives lost. Kentucky's governor calling the collection of tornadoes the most destructive in the state's history. The powerful twisters destroyed a candle factory and the fire and police stations in a small town in Kentucky, ripped through a nursing home in neighboring Missouri, and killed at least 6 workers at an Amazon warehouse in Illinois. Mayfield Fire Chief Jeremy Creason, whose own station was destroyed, said the candle factory was diminished to a pile of bent metal and steel and machinery, and that responders had to at times crawl over casualties to get to live victims. Nearly 200 National Guard personnel have been deployed to assist with the recovery. Kentucky's governor said Sunday he's hoping fewer people were killed by tornadoes Friday night than initially estimated. That's because the owner of a decimated candle factory said more workers escaped the factory than first thought.
I am praying that maybe original estimates of those we've lost were wrong. If so, it's going to be pretty wonderful, but it's way too early.
Beshear said on Sunday the state's death toll could exceed 100. He later said the figure might be as low as 50.
This is the deadliest tornado event we have ever had. I think it's going to be the longest and deadliest tornado event in U.S. history.
Overall, dozens of tornadoes hit several states Friday overnight, but one tornado remained on the ground for hundreds of miles. In addition to hitting the candle factory, the tornado also hit the Amazon distribution center in Illinois. Governor J.B. Pritzker visited the Amazon site.
The loss of life here is the most important immediate thing that we're here for, and of course the people who've been injured. But I think we're going to be recovering from this in central Illinois for really months to come.
The fire chief said there was a shift change going on, and they don't know how many people were in the building, so it is unclear how many workers might be missing. Governor Pritzker said he spoke to Amazon.
I implored them to stand up for this community, to make sure that the families get whatever they need in this community, and they've offered to do so.
Amazon CEO Andy Jassy tweeted the company is heartbroken over the loss of its team members. Over in Arkansas, Governor Asa Hutchinson said a nursing home suffered the greatest damage.
As I went to that facility, it was like heaven sucked up the roof and all the contents of it, and it's just a miracle with 67 residents that we only lost 1 there.
Hutchinson says it could have been much worse if the response wasn't so quick.
Our warning system worked. There was at least 20 minutes warning sound where the residents were able to get into a more protected area.
On Sunday, President Biden declared a major federal disaster in Kentucky and pledged on Saturday to support any affected states.
But I want to emphasize what I told all the governors. The federal government will do everything it can possibly do to help.
The emergency declaration allows FEMA to assist in the aftermath. At least 64 people, including 6 children, lost their lives in Kentucky, with power still out for thousands, and strangers welcoming survivors who lost everything into their homes. And now we hear more from 2 tornado experts. They analyzed what made the disasters so devastating and the lessons we can learn from it. The timing of the tornadoes was highly unusual. One meteorologist said he's rarely seen anything like this in his 40-year career.
This is December. How is this happening in December? This is the kind of thing you would only see at the height of the season, March, April, May. I'd never seen anything like this this time of year.
Dr. Jeff Masters is also the co-founder of an online weather service. He attributed the heavy casualties partially to thunderstorms that occurred overnight.
The number one thing that made this so deadly is it happened at night. Can't see at night. And I mean, a lot of times people rely on a visual confirmation to go into shelter. But at night, you don't have that.
The second factor has to do with the superstorm that formed in northeast Arkansas.
I think the biggest cell in this outbreak was probably maybe a mile or two in diameter. So that means there's really no place to hide. I mean, it's so large and so powerful that even if you're in shelter, you're at danger of losing your life.
Masters said the seasonality of the tornadoes is changing, so is the geographical areas they may affect. But there's a silver lining.
But one thing I might mention is there's no evidence yet that climate change is causing an increase in strong tornadoes. We have not seen the numbers to support that sort of thing happening. So that's some good news anyway.
Attention also turned to the warning systems in place. Experts wondered how communities and leaders can better interpret alerts and prepare for potentially deadly weather.
One of the lessons, it's taken a long time for meteorologists, I think, to understand this, is that there's, no matter how good our physical understanding and predictions are, there's a lot that happens beyond that.
Tornado expert Dr. Harold Brooks suggested introducing building safety rules to prevent extensive damage. Because if buildings are not built well enough, there are no safe places to shelter. But he added that retrofitting existing weak structures isn't a viable option.
Retrofitting houses for tornado is hard. You'd have to take off all of the sheetrock and whatever the outer facing of your house is. So that's not a real easy thing. But certainly with new construction, it would help a lot.
He gave the example of the destroyed candle factory in Mayfield, Kentucky. 8 people were killed when a tornado destroyed the building where 100 employees were working. Now, let's turn to an update on virus prevention measures. New York's temporary mask mandate took effect Monday morning. Governor Kathy Hochul is bringing the indoor mask requirement back because of fears of a winter surge. Starting Monday, New Yorkers will be required to wear a mask in all indoor public spaces unless businesses have a vaccine requirement. Anyone who violates the mask mandate could face fines of up to $1,000. This follows outgoing Mayor Bill de Blasio tweeting out, "We know vaccine mandates work. Today, we are doubling down in New York City. We're expanding our COVID-19 vaccine mandate to include all child care and early intervention programs. The deadline is December 20th. And New York's health commissioner said we do anticipate detecting Omicron in the coming days, based on what we know about its global spread. He acknowledged that not much is known so far about the newly detected variant, but offered some details on its transmissibility and potential to evade a person's immunity, saying Omicron does have similar mutations to other transmissible variants. However, there is lack of reliable evidence about the speed of spread, although some reports from South Africa indicate potentially rapid spread. While more than 80% of New Yorkers over the age of 18 are fully vaccinated, there has been a surge in new COVID cases since Thanksgiving. New York's 7-day average of new COVID-19 cases has increased by 43%. The new mask mandate will remain in effect until at least January 15, 2022. And Philadelphia is rolling out vaccine passports for indoor restaurants, bars, and similar venues. The city's health commissioner announced Monday it's set to take effect starting January 3rd. Philadelphia health commissioner saying any place that sells food or drink to be consumed on site will have to require that everyone who enters be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. She went on to say that negative COVID test must have been for the last 24 hours, adding then after January 17th, negative COVID-19 tests will no longer be accepted, and everyone must have completed their primary COVID vaccination series. The mandate also applies to sporting venues, including the Wells Fargo Center. And kids are included in the mandate too. That includes those 5 years and 3 months and older. Those children would have to have their first dose of the vaccine by January 3rd and the second by February 3rd in order to enter an establishment. What's not included are grocery stores and convenience stores. As for the healthcare crisis, at least 4 states in recent weeks have called in members of the National Guard to deal with healthcare staffing issues. That's amid COVID-19 vaccine mandates for hospital and nursing home workers. Late last week, Indiana became the latest state to deploy the National Guard to hospitals. The Indiana Department of Health confirmed to local media that Guard members were sent to 13 facilities after officials with Indiana University Health, the state's largest hospital system, made the request. Indiana University officials said it's dealing with all-time highs of both COVID-19 and non-COVID-19 patients. Earlier this year, about 125 Indiana University healthcare workers were fired for not complying with the system's vaccine mandate, although the hospital said at the time that most fired workers were part-time. Officials said 6-person National Guard teams with both clinical and non-clinical members will be sent to Indiana University hospitals in 2-week intervals. In New Hampshire, authorities confirmed several days ago that about 70 Guard members would be deployed within the coming weeks to provide non-clinical support at medical care facilities. That deployment will start on December 12th or 13th. As for Maine, Democrat Governor Janet Mills said on December 8th that she activated about 75 additional National Guard members. They'll also be used to provide non-clinical support to healthcare facilities, coming months after the state issued a vaccine mandate for health workers that several courts refused to block. Maine Medical Center CEO Joel Bottler saying the center has had no critical care beds available. The Maine Medical Center is the state's largest hospital. Bottler added that the hospital had to shut down 6 operating rooms in addition to the 6 that were previously closed. And in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul announced that the state's National Guard would conduct a similar mission at state hospitals. The Guard will deploy some 120 Army medics and Air Force medical technicians to 12 long-term facilities and nursing homes to ease staffing shortages. According to a statement from the National Guard, Governor Kathy Hochul issued the order at the start of December, citing what she said is a seasonal rise in COVID cases. And now before we end, Monday ushers in a celebration worthy of the winter holidays. It's National Cocoa Day. December 13th is a perfect time to celebrate by warming up with a cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows on top. The Mayans get the credit for creating the first chocolate beverage around 2,000 years ago. While we might think of it purely as a dessert, cocoa does have real health benefits. Nutritionists say cocoa contains antioxidants and flavonoids good for heart health and even preventing cancer. Another way to celebrate National Cocoa Day, add a teaspoon or 2 to your morning coffee. But what do you think? Let me know below. Thanks for tuning into Deep Dive. I'm Tiffany Meier, and see you soon.